Welcome, everybody, to the Broken Campfire podcast, your favorite podcast by a bunch of men in their 30s talking about video games and other things. And there's a lot of podcasts out there like that, so.
There's so many.
There are a lot of contenders.
I'm Andy. I'm joined by my friends Flask, Greg, Vito, and John is not here this week. It's kind of fucked up. He just didn't want to show up, honestly.
I think he didn't want to hear you talk about Nightreign.
That's probably it, and you're right that's going to be a thing we're going to be talking about tonight.
I don't either, really.
well, you're going to. Oh boy.
Well, you're
really going to. In just a minute, actually. But first off, how's everybody doing?
Oh, I'm so sleepy.
All right.
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm tired, but I'm alive.
I mean, what the fuck do we pay you for? I mean, you gotta, I don't care how sleepy you are.
Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that.
Tell the fans that you're excited to be here now.
I'm so energetic and excited to be here.
That's awesome. Good. I'm glad you're giving us that energy to go into the whole show with. It's gonna be like a 4 or 5 hour pod. I got a lot of notes about
I'm so sleepy, boss.
We're going to talk a little bit about Nightreign, and then we'll do some roundtables and a bit of the news. We're starting to get into game show season on the internet. So we've had the Sony State of Play to talk about. And next week we'll have, what else? Xbox?
Tomorrow is Summer Games Fest.
Tomorrow is Keeley's thing? Yeah.
Yep.
What time does that start?
2, I think?
2 p.m. Eastern? What the fuck?
I think it's early.
Why do they do that in the middle of my work?
It might be
day?
2 p.m. my time.
I'm not gonna be. I'm gonna fucking whatever. I'm not gonna be able to watch that.
Well, what are you doing at work that's so important?
Yeah, what anyway? Andy? What the fuck are you talking about? You have a phone and you have a headphone. I'm sure. Jam it in and compute on one hand, and keep your eye looking at the games.
It's called multitasking.
By the way, it's 5 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, that's fuck you guys. It's 2 p.m. California time.
2 p.m. California, it's
5
Eastern. Yeah.
5 Eastern, 4 o'clock. Not bad.
I'll also say we will have that and much more to talk about next week. For now, let's get into it. Greg and Flask, you guys have also been diving into Elden Ring, Nightreign, sometimes with me, oftentimes not.
Yeah, I think I've spent most of my time playing with either Knoxville or Kurt.
Have you, first off, let's talk progress. Greg, you've killed all the Nightlords?
Except for the final boss, I've killed all the Nightlords.
Okay, the same exact here. And then Flask, you've killed 2
I missed
or 3.
a few days, so I killed 2 maybe.
Okay.
You guys made some radical
How are you
progress.
How are you guys liking the game?
I dig it.
It's a lot of fun.
I like it. It's pretty fun. There are some things that I don't really like about it. But overall, I've been having a pretty dang good old time. It's kind of what I expected. When what they talked about. It's been enjoyable. I wish, some things, like I said, I wish there were more bosses. I know they throw back, a couple bosses from older games, but I feel like they could have maybe done more.
Yeah.
But that, there's maybe more bosses. I feel like
I would
for the
agree.
game.
Maybe
more maps.
I hope that all that is coming. They've been a little bit cagey about what to expect. So far, we can see from the DLC the new characters are in the works. We can see, and they have announced that later this month they're going to be dropping enhanced versions of boss fights. And a duo mode coming later this year. But I agree. All those things. That being said, I'm really loving the game. I'm getting that addictive feeling to it that a really good game gets me. Pretty much have fun all my runs, regardless of whether or not we win or lose. I'm stealing words from reviews I read, but just distilling the whole campaign of Elden Ring down into a 40-minute experience really feels fun. I mean, you're constantly gaining power, you're constantly fighting things. I really like, just to name a couple things, I really like the character skills. Does a lot to the gameplay for me. I think that the movement is really good. The jumping, the running, the no fall damage, the spirit strings.
I like almost all the movement except exclusively for like the climbing. I don't like the climbing in that game very much.
Now, I have had a couple issues with climbing, but I think they've even since patched it to make it a little bit easier and responsive from what I've heard.
I like that it exists. Sometimes it gets a little finicky, but for them, like I prefer that it exists and is something you can do. You know,
right?
Oh yeah, it's cool. I agree. I like what's his name, the Wilder that has that grappling hook where you can use that to climb up shit. That's cool.
All the Nightlords are well, not all of them, but most of the Nightlords are pretty cool. I think, at least in visual design and like boss design. Some of them I hate more than others, but
some of them look like just Monster Hunter monsters. It's crazy. Like the second one, the trap jaw thing or whatever it is, it's just a Deviljho with its head turned to the side. It's crazy.
But hey, overall, I'm having a great time.
Yeah, and I think it's worth. I think it's worth pointing out that, you know, we're a group of friends who most of us played Elden Ring, so we are maybe the most primed type of like group of people to be able to play this type of game where it really does require a team of 3.
Yeah,
I mean, you can play solo, and I think they've even patched it since, but that's really not even the intended version, and there is no such thing as duos. You have to play with 3. So like we are really prepared for that sort of.
We're the target demographic.
Yeah. And a lot of people, of course, have the complaint that like that you know, that the point of the game is that you have to play with 3 people, and I guess they don't have friends or whatever. I mean, not to, you know, no offense to people who don't have friends to play with. It sucks to be the one person who wants to play Nightreign and all your friends say nah, you know. But yeah, we don't have that problem, and that's not a reason, I think, to like review the game poorly because you don't have people to play with. Like, okay, that's not. Do you also rate like a Call of Duty game poorly because you don't have an internet connection? You know, it's like you need a group of people to play the game, or you play solo.
Yeah,
and it's just very hard.
Yeah, and is it fair or not? I mean, I guess it's fair criticism that if they're going to include a solo gameplay, it should be viable. And like at least at launch, I think people were saying it really did not feel like you were even supposed to do this, even though you could.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair criticism, but I did find it amusing reading some of the spicy reviews, like IGN 7, for the game, that like basically all the words they used to talk about the game was, "Oh, it's great, it's perfect, like it's exactly what they said it was going to be. It's what I wanted out of a quick Elden Ring experience. It's just bad solo. 7 out of 10."
Yeah, that's not really what the game is. I mean, maybe they could have done a better job FromSoft of like making that clear in the marketing material, you know, the pre-release stuff. Say you can play solo, but it's designed for 3 players in mind. No duos, but solo will be very hard. I think they should have emphasized that.
I know why you can't do this because of like, you know, money is at stake, but I think it would have been pretty bold for them to just not have a solo mode at all.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, allow the game to be what the game is. You can't. I mean, I guess you can play Deep Rock Galactic solo, but that sounds sad as hell. Sorry, Vito, what were you gonna say?
The thing has matchmaking?
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, is it like not good?
No, it's fine.
Well, different people have different opinions. I mean, the matchmaking is fine as long as you are in the right sort of. Some people's complaint is that the matchmaking like profiles or whatever you want to call it, like the specific
like geography, like
no like what you have signed up for, what you have set for your like the Nightlord you choose, and like the the specificity of your, if you're doing like a remembrance, something like that. Those things narrow your search options for matchmaking. So there's some lobbies, so to speak, that are just kind of like dead. A lot of people complain about that, or it takes way longer than other ones to find co-op partners.
Not just that, but I've also heard that you are secretly placed in pools based on how many Nightlords you killed. Like,
oh yeah,
people think that like the Tricephalos have not killed the first Nightlord pool has like the worst players in the game probably, and then by the time you're killing the last Nightlord, you're in the highest tier pool of like people who have killed at least 4 Nightlords or something like that.
Oh, okay. So that limits you even further. And then people also complain about, of course, like with any game, playing with randos, right, is sometimes trying. And I think people complain about playing with random people just like maybe have had bad luck or over, they're overly critical of the experience of like not being able to truly communicate with people. Because I think, we've had good and bad randoms in our matchmaking. The bad ones just go off and do stuff on their own, whereas the good ones, we communicate through pings, and it works well enough. Like we just follow each other based on vibes. And because the game is limited in terms of what you're actually doing, it's like it works out.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it pretty straightforward what you got to do? I mean,
it is straightforward what you got to do. At the same time, I think it is a fair criticism to have a game like this that's expected to play online and then not have any kind of like in-game chat features beyond.
They probably should, yeah.
It's a fair criticism, but I say that we'll completely agree with Flask that like it does feel pretty organic. Like for example, total example situation, right? There's things around the map called Everjails that you need a loot item, a stone sword key to open. So how do you know that somebody's got an Everjail, or how do you know that somebody picked up a stone sword key? Whenever it's happening in a game I'm playing with randos, they like instantly ping the nearest Everjail, and it's like, okay, there's no way this guy doesn't ping that unless he picked up a stone sword key. And so then you can ping on top of their ping, which says this guy also wants to go there, and it like fuses the ping colors to make them white. Honestly, pinging is like top tier in this game.
It is really good, but I even agree with you that like having chat messages, canned chat messages that say like I found a stone sword key would be just a value add for the gameplay experience.
I think it'd be fun if, in the way like Elden Ring works with those, the canned messages like on the floor and stuff.
Exactly.
Kind of like
so
create
I was just thinking
messages
that,
with those.
That would be
a lot
cool.
of fun.
Mist or Beast. Characters are all really cool, it seems. I don't think I've heard any characters like a true stinker. I know that there's been a lot of discussion that I've seen about how Iron Eye is maybe the best class, especially for solo, but I don't think he like so far outclasses everything else. And
Iron Eye is fun.
Dude, I find that shocking from the onset because it's like they've never had bows as a very viable option in their games. I mean, you could do it, but like it was always the hardest way to play.
With bows, my biggest issue with bows, like in Elden Ring and all the Dark Souls games, was that I always felt like you didn't have enough arrows. You would need to buy a shitload of arrows, and you would always run out. Yeah. In this, it's just you just get your bow and you have infinite arrow. It's so much fun, and it's literally makes the bow class or a bow fun as hell.
Cool.
I like that, and I like the bird class a lot. Those are my 2 favorite classes, I think.
Bird is cool.
What's your favorite, Andy?
I'm a big Duchess main.
Right.
I've generally liked all the classes I played, but if I were to like tier my favorite classes so far, it's Duchess, Recluse, and Raider. What about you, Flask?
The one I play the most, I think probably my favorite, is Revenant, because it's very like a versatile support class. I like the summoning, allowing some like breathing room in terms of aggro, and it's not really about the damage; it's more about the aggro. And but also she's a capable incantation sorcerer, whatever you call it.
Faith caster.
Faith caster, yeah. So there can be healing, and there can also be shit like Black Flame,
Yeah,
very useful. And she can deal damage with like a sword in her right hand, and so it's a versatile class. I like it.
Vito, I know you haven't played the game. You got any questions for us? Why haven't you played the game? Is maybe the question I have for you.
I think I'm just a little burnt out on the whole Souls formula at the moment. So I just, this wasn't a game that I was hyped for.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
And also, I don't know what it is. I know I'm wrong, but something's not appealing to me about like playing that game multiplayer. I don't know why. I guess when I was watching you guys like seamless co-op it, I was like, I don't know, this doesn't seem like it's like made for this, so it doesn't seem fun. But I know you guys have had a ton of fun with that. And, yeah. So I don't know.
I mean, you raise a point. I think it's a fair point, at least for the seamless co-op. It really isn't made for that, and like you do pretty much just steamroll the game. But this game was made for that, and maybe that's kind of the fun for a lot of us. Is like it's actually balanced around and expects you to have 3 people. You know what I mean?
Is it like, how is it balanced for multiple people attacking like a boss? Like other than like health pools and damage, are there like enemy targeting? Is that like better like in this game versus like multiple players, or are the moves in their moveset just like more like sweeping moves or something? Or
out in the open world, there's far more enemies than a normal Nightreign, like at any given camp, normal Elden Ring than at like any given camp or something. So like really like requires you to have a team to clear it out. There's also a closing circle, so you have to do looting and such, but you can't necessarily loot everything yourself. So like you gotta like work as a team to like spread out and loot things. And then in boss design and such, not just health, and oftentimes like the bosses don't have a ton of health, you can damage them down, but like they'll do stuff like split off into 3, or there'll be like 2 or 3 in an arena and stuff like that to make sure that you're focusing around.
Gotcha.
I think a lot of the bosses have gimmicks. A lot of the bosses like would be really hard to play against as like a caster type if you didn't have somebody who was tanking the damage for you. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Team composition can be genuinely important.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Certain enemies are weak to certain damage types also, so somebody getting a weapon that does poison damage might be the key to defeating a boss, and it's just they just got that weapon, so they're important to the team.
Yeah, there's a lot of synergies with like your character skills and stuff as well. Like my character skill, the Duchess, like I literally my character skill is that I do back half again all the damage somebody has taken over the last few seconds. So like if Flask pops an ult, I can use my thing to like copy paste that damage back again. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of cool team dynamics, and like make no mistake, this game was built from the ground up as a 3-player game. It's not like a Souls experience where somebody joins and the boss's health is doubled or something like that. You know what I mean?
Cool. And then with your builds, because this thing is a roguelike, like do you like snowball on certain runs where like you're just so OP because of the things you got, or it's not really that kind of kind of game?
Yes and no. Like you could definitely like get a lot of power quickly and get a quote unquote easy run, but then the skill check is always the boss, where like the boss the big boss, the Nightlord, rarely feels easy. You can't like snowball to the point where you're killing God. You know what I mean? You can snowball to the point where like you could pretty much like get an easy game up until you get to the Nightlord. But you still gotta like engage and play the game to win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's max level caps, that kind of thing.
It's a little more grounded than like a roguelike where like you could just become OP.
Yeah.
With the right combination of things.
Yeah. And I would say yes and no. Like yes in the sense or no in the sense that you can't, like there's level caps and stuff like that, but each boss has a different weakness to them. And if you can get the right build that like synergizes against that boss's weakness, especially if you got a couple of people on you, you do start to approach like feeling like, oh yeah, I'm that guy.
Stuff like that is random every time you face the same boss, or no?
What, their weakness and stuff?
Yeah,
their weakness is not random, but like
Okay.
The map has a number of different camps and forts and shit that you can clear to get rewards, and the map tells you, like, it has an icon on each one of those things, what the type of reward is, like a fire weapon or a holy weapon or something like that. So, it helps you tune your exploration of the world to, like, see the weakness and be like, okay, if I can get a really good holy weapon, I'm gonna have a good chance against this boss. You know what I mean? So that's where a lot of the randomness comes in.
So for instance, you might know, okay, the night boss at the end of this run is going to be weak to holy, so let's go attack a holy camp, or one that's listed as like with a holy symbol. We know that there will be holy enemies there. There will be holy items to pick up. So you go there and you find that they have like some bullshit spellcasting holy thing after you defeat the boss there, and it's like, this is not useful for my sword build, right? Whereas on another run, you might find like the best sword you've ever found that also does holy damage. So it's like, okay,
right
now I can this is a much better run a much better track here.
You can't change your class on the fly.
Well, no.
Your specialties, okay.
But then also, so like, there's a level of randomization to the items. Not really to the bosses in terms of like where they'll spawn, but in terms of the locations, those are mixed up every time. But you will come to learn how the locations operate and with the likely boss to be in the locations. So you will learn like every location on the map, and you will quickly determine, okay, here's what this must be based on like this, this setup.
Yeah.
So it's some degree of randomization, but not as much as you might think going in.
Is that a downside to the game, or is it just a part of the formula that you could accept?
I think it's double-edged because on one hand, more randomization is probably more fun. Just like the randomizer mod being like,
right, genuinely
you could find anything anywhere. That's fun, but it could also get very chaotic. On the other hand, it's also fun to learn these things, to actually grow in your knowledge base about the game, right? To be able to like be more effective in making choices as you go. It makes you faster, it makes you more capable.
I think it's fine, but I think that the game, we were saying this earlier, I think the game does need a continual drip of content and like patches that shake things up to keep itself interesting. You know what I mean?
What would you like to see if they did release stuff like what, new map or something like that?
Top of my list would be new map. Yeah, I mean, not that I hate the current map, but there is only one map, and that map has like four major variations from the normal map.
I think it's like four.
That are cool, but it would be even cooler if I had a different map. I keep saying I want my Guardian of the Lakes based map. I want a big fucking magical Hogwarts based.
I'm surprised we didn't get like how like Limboville is like the Elden Ring one, and they brought back other Dark Souls stuff. I'm wondering why didn't they bring back like what was the like New Orlando or something like that, or on Orlando? I'm surprised they didn't bring that back. People love that place.
Dude,
no, it's not going to be.
Imagine a map that like had Anne Orlando, and it was a very vertical map, but like below Anne Orlando was a different place. Like if you fell from Anne Orlando, you land somewhere else on the map. It would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd be sick.
Now, it's not going to be the same as like making a map for like Call of Duty, right? These are like huge maps with a lot of detail, so you wouldn't expect them to be like pumping out maps. I mean, I hope you guys get some more maps, but it's probably going to be like a big addition over a long period of time, I imagine.
Yeah, I imagine in the game's run, we'll be lucky to get like 3 maps. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely want to see what they want or what they plan to do for that game.
And the fact that it's actually just the one map with stuff that you can eventually like, you can pretty much learn everything. It's just a matter of small details being changed. I think that was surprising to a lot of players who, they were told this is a roguelike game, So you imagine all the roguelike games you played with all the infinite combinations of options and stuff like that. The Bindings of Isaac that have the rooms that can be any room off the next doorway, right?
Yeah.
In this case, it really is like a limited playtime game. You know what I mean? It's a limited
right.
playtime
You'll
game.
soon know everything to the point where it will be stale.
Yeah.
Well,
like eventually
yeah.
you will have done the content, and you can still play, but like there is no like real post game. You've done everything at a certain point.
Yeah, it's an interesting release. $40,
I mean,
so it's not
yeah.
full priced, and yeah, I'm just curious to see if this is something that they're going to support long term, or if it's just kind of like an interesting little one off.
I think they'll support it just because it would be really weird to enter the roguelike space and not do the roguelike thing of giving constant updates to your game, And I'm not saying it's easy, but like they largely don't have to make brand new assets. I mean, they have made some new bosses, but like I would be happy even if they just continue to copy and paste shit from the older games and just package it in this format to me. Our friend Peter, when he played with me, said this game is just straight up 39 minutes of brain damage injected straight into your veins. And it's like, yeah, that's what it feels like to me.
It's interesting seeing where FromSoft is going with this game, and then the Switch exclusive Bloodborne thing.
Yeah,
that's like a multiplayer game as well, right? That's like a Extraction, PV or something like that. PvP.
Well, they might have started doing passion projects of like weird gothic horror action RPG games, but at a certain point, you got to just follow the money, right? I mean, they know people love the multiplayer in their games. They've like been begrudgingly making their games more multiplayer accessible since the very beginning. You know what I mean?
Right. And now it feels like they're pasting their thing on top of like popular multiplayer modes. Like this is like almost.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is an Extraction game, and then I don't know what the hell this next one is, but
not only that, but also this is just a version of the seamless co-op mod with the randomizer mod, two of the most popular Elden Ring mods. It's like, well, people already love these things, so let's just do it for real. Do it our way.
Just to be clear, this is not an Extraction game. You don't come back with anything.
Gotcha. Sorry, I'm thinking of the yeah. It's got the rings, which is not really an Extraction.
It's a battle royale.
Like a battle royale thing. Yeah, I don't play these kinds of games.
Even battle royale is not a great moniker because that implies PvP, I think.
Right. Yeah. Well, I saw one of you guys posting that some modder was talking about how it should be possible to turn the whole thing into a battle royale. That's kind of interesting.
Well, dude, I posted it a couple days ago that I think that some modder is gonna turn it into basically make it PUBG. I mean, why not, right? If you can do seamless multiplayer.
Which, by the way, there is an event in the world that can happen. That's like a little storm. And if you go over there, you get attacked by like essentially the only version of NPC invaders that the game has, as far as I'm aware. Like other player characters being controlled as NPCs or being controlled by the PC or the computer as NPCs, and they attack you.
Yeah.
What I think we were all surprised that that's not more prevalent. That they don't have like a whole slew of NPC invaders that can attack you at different times, different events, different places.
That is weird. I mean, it's been in like every one of their games too, like the NPC invader shtick.
Yeah, so I thought that was weird.
You see, there's a lot more we could say, and you could see them adding a lot more. But we've been going on for a minute, so I'll just ask everybody any final thoughts on Nightreign. I'll just say the one thing maybe we haven't highlighted that I want to say before we move on is the pacing on it is really good for me. Like I love how you got to be. It's not like a fucking speed run where like you're that stressed about it, but it's not like a game that has downtime. No. There's like one moment of downtime right before the Nightlord to give you a chance to like take a little break just in case. But like, once you start a match, for 40 minutes you're fucking in it and you're there.
You got to be making snappy decisions. You got to be really quick about your traversal, as quick as possible taking the shortest routes.
Makes it a lot of fun. Yeah.
One thing that I did want to note that I hadn't yet was that for some reason the lock-on system in this game is like worse than Elden Ring's. I don't know what they did, why it's like this, but I hope they come up with a patch to improve the lock-on system, because I think I've heard multiple people express this, that the lock-on just like doesn't work sometimes, or won't move to the next person, won't move to the
That's
right
the worst thing.
target.
It's become a meme around here, and I'm totally with that. Like, it feels like whenever your teammate is down and you want to pick them up, it's just locked onto the boss. But when you want to walk onto the boss, it keeps going to your teammate.
Yeah. Why is it like that? I don't know why it's, you know, so much worse than, say, playing seamless in Elden Ring. You know, like I feel like we never thought of that even once during seamless co-op runs. It just, you know, it worked when maybe, I mean, yeah, I guess it's just like a problem with the prioritization, because like they know you mostly want to be targeting enemies, but then again, like the way to revive your allies is by hitting them, if someone didn't know. And so it's very important to be able to reliably lock on your teammates. It should be better than it is.
It should be. Greg, anything else you want to say?
No, I'm enjoying the game, having a blast. I want to see more content for it.
Me too.
All right, let's go ahead and move on. Vito, you didn't really get a ton to weigh in there.
I'm in
Nightreign.
I'm in game limbo after Clair Obscur. Oh yeah, but I didn't really tell anybody about this. But I mean, you saw me beat the final boss in Clair Obscur, and then I went back, and then I was doing more of the side content, and I decided I'm done. I didn't do everything.
That's fair.
I did a lot though. I mean, I know of like maybe 2 major bosses that I didn't beat yet, but I fought them. I just feel like at the end of the game, this isn't really like, I'm not like, it's not necessarily a criticism, but I'm done. It was just the balancing in that late act 3 is just like so all over the place that kind of loses its fun for me. Like either you're steamrolling fights or fights are like just like an hour long. And I was just like, I'm good. I've seen the game. It was great. I loved it. It's my game of the year right now. I don't need to do all of the stuff. So yeah, I stepped away from that game. I uninstalled it.
I agree with the disparity in difficulties throughout the end game, the post game. But I wonder if they did that on purpose, and it's supposed to be much more of like genuinely things hidden behind challenge barriers that they didn't expect most people to be wanting or able to like find, to get through. Because it really is crazy.
I mean, it's not like it's secret shit. It's not like it's hidden. It's just stuff that's right there. But yeah, I guess my disappointment with that is like, it does feel like you really do reach the potential of like creating fleshed out builds towards the end of the game. But yeah, I guess my interest has already waned by that point. And I had heard that New Game Plus doesn't really add anything, so I wasn't incentivized to do that. But I tell you what, if that game gets DLC, I'm all over it.
I completely agree. I feel like it would have been great if you broke the initial damage cap like midway through Act 2, maybe, or maybe even a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I think breaking that earlier or getting access to a lot of the end game pictos earlier. It's like I get them at the end of the game, and they kind of help me. They unlock the potential for certain builds, but it's like, yeah, I'm already there. I'm already at the finish line. Why fuck around with this stuff?
I really think that it would have felt better. I don't know. I mean, we don't know how the game was originally structured, but it certainly feels like Act 3 was not. Act 3 had a different structure at some point in time. And I want to see more of what I imagine is the case, total headcanon, that they at some point had a build that had Act 3 going through a lot of that optional side content as part of the main path. And I wonder, well, I guess maybe it's spoilers. I'm not saying too much, I guess, but and instead of like making it optional, I wonder if like builds would have felt better if like the game was structured around you doing that kind of stuff, so that like when you got to the end area, you know what I mean, it was like expected to be a higher level. Because it's weird that like the final boss feels like he's built for going there right at the end of Act 2. You know what I mean? And there's a whole lot of other game there.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. If that was truly the final, but one of the final bosses of the game, and I was building up to that and working on my classes up into that, that would have felt a lot better. But yeah, instead it feels like you're supposed to do that immediately and then do the side stuff.
I did feel like building was pretty good throughout the game, though. Frankly, I mean, I understand what you mean that like at the end, you just have access to a lot more.
Shit really pops off. Shit can really pop off. Like certain builds definitely feel more fleshed out. Like I don't know, like break builds and stuff like that. You really get access to some very powerful pictos towards the end. But yeah. So I uninstalled that. Amazing game. And now I'm like kind of in game limbo. So I got Xbox Game Pass for that game, and so I want to take advantage of it. And there are some great games on the pass right now on Microsoft's Xbox Game Pass is what I'm referring to, by the way.
Like
the Xbox Game Pass for PC where you try it for like $2 for 14 days.
Yeah, well the ultimate Game Pass for PC.
Right.
And so I installed Oblivion Remastered. I was excited to play that. My computer is not running it well, unfortunately, to the point where I was just not. I didn't want to play the game on like the lowest settings. Like, I wanted to see Oblivion all ramped up and beautiful looking. So I uninstalled that, and I don't know. Hopefully they'll optimize it, and then maybe I'll revisit it. I think I'm due for like an upgrade soon. I'm feeling it with all of like the newer AAA games. My graphics card's really feeling it. I think it's about like close to 10 years old now. So, I installed Doom: The Dark Ages, and have been playing that. Huge fan of 2016 and Doom Eternal. Especially Doom Eternal. I knew what I was getting into with the Dark Ages because I was watching a lot of the promos for it, and the devs were explaining how the gameplay is going to differ. It's still a Doom game, but they say that you're instead of feeling like a fighter jet, you're going to feel like a tank, and there's a new parry feature where you'll be parrying attacks back at enemies. And enemies are like they shoot like slowly moving projectiles that you have to like dodge, so it's kind of like a bullet hell sort of thing. And the game is just less vertical. It's not really vertical at all.
All the things you're saying make it sound more like old school Doom, which is what
I think that's how they were describing it. Yeah. But I really like the direction that Eternal went in. I felt like that was like the peak of the formula. It just felt the resource management and the movement felt amazing. I really enjoyed that. And so, I was expecting to not really enjoy Dark Ages the same way going into it. And I'm enjoying it. It's fun. But yeah, I'm definitely not enjoying it as much as Eternal.
Okay.
Which is a little bit of a bummer. I really enjoy the medieval, the pseudo medieval, setting. But the gameplay's a little slow. It's I'm still like early in the game, so I think once I unlock everything and start upgrading my Slayer, I think once I reach the potential of the full Dark Ages gameplay, I think it'll be a little bit more fun. So I'm gonna keep playing it. I don't like that they made the narrative and the story more of a focus. I don't know why. I don't know who asked for this. I thought that the narrative and I mean, it's not that big a deal. You could just ignore it, but I liked how minimal the narrative was in the first two games. Like where there's barely cutscenes. It's really just like somebody was talking in your headset, explaining things every now and then. And there's like some environmental storytelling, maybe some very short first person perspective cutscenes. But this game's got like characters. It's got cutscenes like in the perspective of other characters, which is weird. It's like you're watching like a show. I don't know. It doesn't really feel right for Doom.
It's so funny because like the two main things in the internet discourse around the first two, from my perspective, were always number one, we want to return to like the more tanky, like old school Doom version of the gameplay. Eternal kind of went off in the wrong direction. That was the majority opinion that I saw. And then the second thing was always like, we love how, sparse and laconic the lore and the story are in, especially the first one. And the second one, don't go off in the wrong direction with that, making it more priority, making the story more in your face and make you more a part of it and have to like actually pay attention.
They take it up 10 more notches in this. It
seems like they learned they followed the supposed lesson that a lot of people had in the gameplay department. And from what you're saying, it sounds like they just completely ignored the other part of the discourse where they made story more. I mean,
even the way the game starts and you have to watch like a lengthy cutscene that like doesn't even like feature this layer. It's just like, why am I watching this? I don't give a fuck. If it was a better story, obviously, like maybe it'd be more interesting. But this clearly feels like a story that was invented like 10 games into a franchise, trying to like put together pieces of whatever story was there. It's not very good. And it's distracting from the gameplay. There's also, talking about distracting from the gameplay, there's also those segments that looked very cool in like the trailers and stuff, like the mech you pilot and you fight like big demons and shit. And then there's like a cyber dragon that you fly, and it's like these like Panzer Dragoon like segments. Is that the game I'm thinking about? Panzer Dragoon. Yeah, and
that's a game.
They're kind of gimmicky. Anytime I'm like in the mech or on the dragon, I'm like, I kind of wish I was just back on my feet again. I don't know. Doom Eternal didn't have shit like that. I thought the game was killer. These segments, they look flashy, but they're not, like, especially the mech stuff is like not really gameplay. It's not hard. You kind of just go up to things and click to punch them. So yeah, stuff like that feels like bloat to me.
Okay.
I wish Doom Eternal didn't get the reaction that, I mean, it got stellar reviews, and I know people who loved it, but it did get this reaction of like, oh, this isn't Doom. You're moving like too fast, and I don't agree at all. I think that was like peak. And I feel like the reaction to Doom: The Dark Ages has been pretty, not like stellar. It's not bad, not middling, but like it's getting like, I feel like it's getting like 8 out of 10s maybe. So
yeah, I'm not really hearing people talk about it that much, especially in comparison to Eternal, I guess.
It feels a little like a slight misstep. I mean, it's cool that you have these 3 games that are all different. I think it's very brave. And who knows, maybe looking back at it, we'll look at this game more favorably. I think Doom Eternal also got a lot of backlash when it was released because it was so different it was a little bit different from 2016. But, that game ultimately got positive reviews. So I don't know. Maybe it's just we're all afraid of change. But
well, except for the people who played Doom Eternal and were like, good game, but I hope they pivot and fix what they messed up this time.
Right.
And Vito's over there screaming and banging on the glass.
I was reading those comments, like 3 years ago or whatever, and just like, banging on my monitor, like, you idiot, you're gonna ruin it for us. And I will say I'm sorely missing Mick Gordon in this one.
Right.
I just don't care or pay attention to the music. It just feels like very generic, metal, which is the music I listen to. But I don't want to hear generic metal. You know what I mean? Mick Gordon's stuff was a little more interesting. The industrial, vibe of that, and it was just more creative. Like making songs with the fucking chainsaw and shit like that. Also, I think the game is getting a lot of complaints about its audio mixing, as far as the music specifically. Like, you just can't really hear it that well during gameplay. They just released a patch today that's supposed to fix that a little bit. Other than that, the audio design in the game is like superb. Like, just the sound of like your footsteps and the guns firing and shit. It's very satisfying. All to say, I'm playing it still. I'm enjoying it a little bit, and I will keep playing it.
Good.
Maybe I'll talk more favorably about it next week.
I hope so, for your sake.
Yeah. Everything I've heard about the game sounds mid to not great, which is surprising because I've never played this game. It's more than like an hour or two on the first June 2016. But I thought the game looked cool as fuck up until it came out and I started hearing everybody shit on it.
I think I'm being harsh. I don't think people are like shitting on it. It's still a fucking expertly made game, but it's the third in a series, and the first two games are very highly rated, so it's held up to a pretty high standard. So it's definitely not like anywhere near shit, but maybe slightly disappointing in the of a trend, But I'm gonna hang on to this Game Pass though, because there's some other games I got queued up on this thing.
Like what?
I want to get to Blueprints. I've been hearing great things about that.
Mm-hmm.
You got South of Midnight on there.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's Microsoft Xbox Game Pass, the place to be. That's all I got, by the way.
Okay. Well, during the Dark Ages, it's just... Are you alright, Vito? Because it sounds like the only thing you did over the last week was be sad.
I've been playing the finals. I still love the finals.
Alright, moving
Finals
on.
is great. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Greg. What have you been up to recently?
Oh, well, just to be a quick Gotham, I played the finals with Vito. That was pretty cool. Sorry, that happened last night. I just thought, that was relevant. And that's all I'm going to talk about it. It's been, a couple weeks since I've been on this?
Yeah, you were busy. We told the viewers or listeners that you were in Paris, getting your
I liked it so much, I decided to move there. So I spent my last couple weeks moving there. I'm all set up. Oh yes, we indeed. But now that I'm here, all settled down, I've been playing some games. I got a good list of games I went through. Flask already talked about one of them. You can go watch his video. If you, we basically had the same points. Labyrinth of the Demon King. That was a sick game. I really like the art style, but I'm not saying anymore. Watch Flask's video. It's a good video.
Thank you.
What else did I do?
YouTube.
Yeah, sure. Whatever Andy's talking about.
Campfire.
Next I played a game, a supermassive game. I like those games. The Casting of Frank Stone. It was like $8 on Steam, so I bought it and played through it.
What does that mean by casting? Is it like for a movie?
So it's to play on words. So it takes place in like a metal area, like a mill, like a steel mill. So the casting of metal, and Frank Stone was like a metal worker. So casting, and also you're making a movie at the mill. So the casting of Frank Stone.
Whoa.
See, it was okay.
Yeah, they should call it the mixed reviews of Frank Stone.
What's the double meaning of that? That like he doesn't get reviews on his Yelp for his metal work or something like that?
Right. Yeah. And
But
it's
also
got
the
mixed
game he's in.
reviews on Steam.
Yeah, it was okay. I kind of wish I played it with some of you guys, because there was a part where I lost one of the people because I thought I could take a guy, and it turned out like I needed to go a different direction to buy fireworks, like to be confident enough to buy fireworks, and then I could use that to distract the guy. But instead, the guy just cut me in half. So it skipped like a bunch of cutscenes for me, like where it would show up and it would be nothing, and then it would go to the next scene. It was very funny.
That is pretty funny when that happens. It's like, actually, you weren't supposed to let that happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Sorry.
you kind of ruined it. The whole story thing.
But it ties into the Dead by Daylight game, which was interesting, I guess. But that was it's a Dead by Daylight game. It's set in the Dead by Daylight world where
Which one are we playing, Gamercation?
there's none out at the moment. I believe the next one to come out is going to be an alien one, which kind of looked cool, which I'll probably get.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, that's that. Other things I've done. I bought a game called Infection Free Zone. It is it's like a base building apocalypse game where you're in the zombie apocalypse. But the thing that got me about this game is you can type in anywhere in the world and it'll load up a Google map view and you can build in that area of like the world.
That game. It was cool seeing like literally seeing Greg start a headquarters at my house.
Like literally, like one I got pretty decently in is I'm living in Kurt's house. I've torn down his neighbor's houses when he we have this nice like little base there. It's pretty cool. I'm digging that game.
Fucking old Mr.
Yeah, some old. He was like, oh, that's Mr. Blah 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 across the street. Tore that shit down. I was like, Kurt, he's got guns in here. You should be aware.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I guess you'll explain how you feel about the game, but I think that's pretty fucking innovative. I've never really seen that.
It's before. Cool. It's pretty cool. It's a fucking tough game though. Like, I have one game going on where I'm in the city. I'm in Knoxville's job, so it's just, and he works in the city, so it's just. Well, every house takes like hours to dig through. There are zombies everywhere. It's crazy.
Is it
decent game?
Player?
No, it is not. It is not multiplayer. It is a single player game, but pretty fun. Cool. Pretty interesting.
Yeah, what it seems to do is like it takes map data and then like builds the landscape,
builds a map
the buildings based on what type of buildings they are, I guess, in the map.
Yeah, and then they use like their own like custom like their buildings to like for the houses and what. So it's not like your actual house, but it's like where your house would be.
Just to get people,
accuracy varies depending on like the map. Like
my area,
neighborhood. My area was pretty goddamn accurate. Like,
dude, it was great going through Vito because like some of there was one night we were playing where I was just typing in people's addresses and we were just looking around. Like we went to Vito's and it was like places that were like nearby that we've seen. I was like,
yeah, it has
dude,
names on all
sick.
of them, like like of local establishments, like they're named and shit.
We'll add to the description of this podcast everybody's GPS coordinates so you can try our houses too.
Yeah, I can take pictures of our games and you can find the house where we live through like the zombie houses.
That's actually a good point. This is not something you can ever stream.
No, I could stream.
You can go anywhere.
And I just got to go. Yeah, we went to Disney. We saw what the. Yeah, I wouldn't pick like one of our places.
Is Disneyland like does it have like rides and shit, or is it like
it doesn't have rides, but like it's got like the map layout and it's got like random buildings because it's.
So it doesn't really look like Disneyland.
It's got the outline of it, which is cool. Like it's got Like we went to Epcot, and I've been to fucking Disney World so many times. We went. You could go into it's like all these places around in Epcot, and they're all like different like countries of like the world, and it had each one of those. It had little stores in like each section. It was pretty cool, but it didn't have the rides in it.
You do like Times Square or something like that?
We did not do Times Square. We did that, and then we tried doing some other places that I won't bring up, but it was cool. Sick game. Yeah, Infection Free Zone. I say check that out.
Okay.
Let's see other games.
It's weird because the zones
like
weren't infection free though.
No,
and the game costs $25.
It does.
So it's not even free in any regard.
Other games I've been playing. Elder Scrolls Oblivion. I'm playing that. That's a fun game. You know, it looks great. Can't believe it.
Wish I could
going
play.
through that. Yeah, it sucks to suck, bud. My other games I've been playing.
Not wrong.
I've been playing a lot of the Outlast Trials. I'm playing a lot of by myself. I maxed out my rank and I relapsed, which basically reset my rank. They put a shiny little plaque in front of my door and they like reset my whole character. I have formed bonds with people from different lands who have spoken completely different like languages in that game, and it has been so much fun and so frustrating at the same time. Like my main one that I really remember, I think I told you guys about it. I had these 3 French people in my game, and they were talking, and I couldn't understand a fucking lick of what they were saying.
Oh, Mr.
But then they
Paris.
would start I knew they were French because you know how you know.
You'll get more used to them.
Yeah, but I've had people speaking different languages. That game is so cool, guys. I've been having a blast. They had this event recently called I don't remember the name of it. I think it was Project Relapse, and they had this event called the Jaeger onboarding, which is this new creature, new like monster that they have on the field called the Jaeger, and it's basically like Mr. X. It picks a person and it just follows them, deadlocks. It will just walk to you, and when if it gets to you and grabs you, it kills you. You're done. It's pretty fun, pretty sick. Flask. I just say Flask because you know we're the Resident Evil heads. And
Sure.
I really like the Jaeger because it reminds me a lot of Mr. X, even though it's like a half naked woman like going crazy and trying to snap my neck.
Half naked woman, you say? It's funny when you mentioned I got to max level and then I relapsed. For a split second, I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." It kind of is like relapsing to get back into the game so much. Like I just assumed you were talking about relapsing and playing much more of the game.
Basically, I'm having a blast with it. You know, relapsing. I should say I didn't read it fully. I thought so. When you relapse, you lose all your stuff, but you're able to pick one thing to keep forever. And I read that as, oh, you pick one buff, and that buff is like permanently on you, not it retakes everything away from you. So I was like, you know what? I always want to have it so I can step on glass and not make any noise. So I'll take slippers. They spit me out of that tube. They give you a new outfit, which is basically you naked in your underwear. I am naked with slippers and I have nothing to my name. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck?
Whereas otherwise you would have had a lot else.
Yeah, normally because I was max level, I had everything, like all the drugs I had, all like the upgrades. It takes away all that stuff. So I've played a few matches as the new guy, like since I've relapsed. And it's been rough. I'm trying to play like intensive games as like a level 1 character, and I'm just getting my ass kicked constantly.
So it's like prestiging, but you get one permanent upgrade to this.
Yeah, when I say relapse, it's basically like prestiging. Yeah, it sets you to level 1. You pick an item to keep, and right in front of your cell door, they put like a little plaque that says how many times you've relapsed.
Thanks for the plaque.
And I know they just released the roadmap. They're gonna have a new prime asset, which is like the main bad guys, and they have like TVs on in like some of the maps,
That's cool.
and you can see you see like a shadow of who it is. He kind of looks like some evil doctor dude. So like some evil like hunchback doctors. He looks freaky. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. That's Outlast Trials, and that's pretty much all I've done.
After last
Outlast
episode,
Trials.
you mentioned Dave the Diver DLC. Something about that.
Dave the Doc. Oh yeah. It's kind of way late now. When I
Okay.
talked about Dave the Diver and I did that DLC, I was like, oh, that I bought that Yakuza DLC. It really didn't do anything. The second we got off that, I went back on and like started the next day. I got a call. I got a bunch of like skins. I got like a karaoke mini game. I got a phone chat. I got a bunch of crap. I was like, whoa, dude, that's awesome. So I recant that.
You
I remember
apologize?
that now. I apologize to Dave.
No, don't apologize. Apologize to Yakuza,
Oh yeah, Yakuza.
Sega.
It's kind of what. Well, I'm not going to apologize to them, but I'll apologize to Yakuza. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got for the week or the
Cool.
weeks.
Well, I think that's a good enough time for us to start winding down and call it a night. I'm just kidding. We actually have a whole another half of the show to go.
He got me with that one.
So we're gonna go to a break and be back with my roundtable flasks and then some news, including the Sony State of Play. Greg, you here?
I'm about to step away. What's up? If I come back, I'll tell Vito something.
Yeah. Tell him I said. Tell him I said fuck off.
All right, I got it.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yo, 2000s alternative music. That is a very good category.
Vito,
Definitely
fuck
gotta add that
off.
one. What?
Sorry, Andy asked me to tell you that. Yeah. I'm just doing what I was told, man.
I'm gonna roll back the tape once Flask posts this, and I'll find out if you're telling the truth.
All right.
Welcome back, everybody. We'll start with my roundtable because we're currently talking about one of my games, Trivia Tricks, a trivia game. We've been playing a lot
Oh,
of
hell yeah.
it recently. But Vito, you're laughing because it's a trivia game where the real appeal, honestly, the onboard questions are pretty good too. But the real appeal for us recently has been there's workshop support and a lot of pretty fun random trivia packs we found. I was just looking during the break. I found a couple.
Oh yeah, you posted two good ones there.
Italian Brain Rot Quiz,
Yeah.
and 2000s alternative music.
That one actually is good. We do have to. Well, we have to add both of them, but definitely that one.
Yeah, I just wanted to recommend people check out Trivia Tricks if they like trivia or have friends who they can play trivia with, especially.
I still need to finish my first question pack because I got almost to the end and then I just wanted a few more questions. Then I got distracted by like Nightreign that we haven't been playing.
Literally, I started making one. I got 3 questions. I was like, I'll do this later, and then I never did it later.
Well, I
Yeah,
really wanted to
made a
make
couple.
this segment about just that Flask. Me and Vito have made a couple. Really, the ones I made were more tailored for our group, so I didn't post any of those online. But Vito, have you checked your numbers?
No, I haven't. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I totally forgot about this.
Well,
Hold on,
okay.
What are we thinking? Hundreds, thousands? Let me check.
No, don't check yet. We're gonna make a.
Okay.
I
I don't know how to even find it. I have to.
I'll say that a few of ours are performing similarly. The one I uploaded, Star Trek, which Alex actually made, I just uploaded for him, has 24 subscribers.
Not bad, not bad.
Obscure Wikipedia Topics has 22.
Hell yeah.
And let me see. Yeah, and no surprise, Vito. Your least performer is Twin Peaks with only 8. But Vito, the trivia pack you made, Fictional Places, has 58 or 55
My
current
God.
subs.
Whoa.
My God.
Made about what? What was it he made it about?
It's just
Fictional
like
Places.
fictional places in like in fiction. It's like
Oh, in
comics
fiction.
and movies and books.
Now, Vito, if you assume that every one of those 55 people are playing it with 8 of their friends, and I will assume that, you have 440 people consuming content
God.
that you personally made with your hands. You
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah, we should, yeah, and that's cool. What else have we been doing?
And I know you're
Playing
gonna
other-
take
playing
credit
other-
for that right here with
You're
your
playing
whole
other
chest and say that
games? Are you watching any movies or?
You made with hard work, sweat, and ChatGPT.
Yeah, I mean,
What-
not in that order
What
for
was
sure,
the-
but
you
yeah.
said there was 3 things you said, and then there was one that I wasn't expecting. It's all right. I don't remember.
He did make with ChatGPT. But hey, you know what? I gotta say, we played it. It was fine. It was good.
It works out. So it's not an artistic endeavor. It's just for fun.
I can't wait for them to play this when they're burning you two at the stake for using it.
Meanwhile,
Andy,
the
for you acknowledging it, and
Hey,
for
you
know-
doing it.
And
I
anyone who
think I
answers
even
the questions correctly.
I did
There's
make
actu-
artistic ones based on my friends in our group memes and stuff.
right.
The
But
one
how
I'm
many
making is
views Does
artisanal.
that have? How many subscriptions does that one have, Andy?
None, because I did it.
He's
for
got you
art.
there,
I didn't-
dude.
I
None.
didn't
I'm
even
a
upload
numbers.
it.
I'm a numbers guy. He's got you there.
Huh? You were afraid to upload it. It's so bad. Wow. I think there's a credit column when you're making your I think I did credit ChatGPT. So I'm not
And you're
even, not even
good.
trying
You
to
say,
fool anybody.
you say in the disclaimer, I had AI do it. I do
Yeah.
half of the work. Boom. There you go.
Yeah,
You're absolved.
the fine print is there. I can't be
Hey,
be charged
Vito?
with anything.
I'm whipping out my hand across the table for a handshake. It's a good work. Good work. Grade A work.
Yeah, actually, I have no problem with
hold
it because,
on.
like, as long as you're using it as just like a way to quickly aggregate information, and then you can double check it as a human. It's just like a researcher for you.
Now I'm not going to talk about all the AI art you use for it. That's a different story. But
Yeah, and ultimately I was making them for us. I didn't really care if it's published or not, but I have to share it with Andy somehow and whatever. And honestly, if it's helpful for other people, I think that's cool.
I think they were fun ideas and cool topics. I'm not hating.
But yeah, it's good
Dude,
game.
My pack
coming
is
up with
going to be
topics.
more expensive though, because again, it's handcrafted artisanal trivia.
Here's a topic list, or here's a topic idea. I just came up with this on the pod. Comedy Central classics.
Like
What does
just
that mean?
about I don't know, like Comedy Central Presents episodes and like South Park and
Yeah,
shit like that. What was that one
Movies that
comedian's
aired on-
name that did
movies that aired at the time. Tommy Boy, for example.
yeah, that's not a bad idea. It's very millennial. I get behind it.
I'm a very millennial man.
I like
Yeah.
things that I know from my past.
Same. And other than that, I've been playing Nightreign, and I do have a surprise topic. I may have mentioned I was doing this to
Nightreign
some
again.
people. But me, Eric, and his wife played through a choose-your-own-adventure board game called House of Danger.
Whoa.
House of Danger.
wow.
In House of Danger, you play as a psychic detective, and you have to go into and through the House of Danger. With like mechanics like you're rolling dice to win challenges. You can modify your dice with items you find, challenge boosters they call it. how well you do is kind of like rated on like your psychic scale and danger meter, things like that. But I gotta say, I'm gonna spoil House of Danger.
What?
The reason I bring it up and I find it notable is that we kind of got the worst possible ending you can imagine for any game possible. Like the worst. Like think of a game, and our ending would be the worst thing that could happen in that world.
Purposefully, or you guys just stumbled into it?
Well, you know, you guys know me. I'm a do everything kind of gamer.
Right.
And I wasn't going to strong arm these other two, but like there were a lot of points where we got to the end of chapter 1 and it's like, oh, you can go back and revisit to find more items. So I'm like, oh yeah, let's do that. And we did like one item and it's like clearly there's a couple others left in there, and that's when they're like, well, let's just move on. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll go with the flow.
Oh, so it was their fault. It was both their fault.
To be fair, there is a risk of going back. You'll get higher danger meter, so it's not always a good thing. But honestly, it felt kind of lame, and I'm not even blaming Eric and Shannon's attitudes towards that, because like, you know, with the way the game penalized you for exploring more, like, yeah, it did kind of make sense to just move on with what you got. But the story was cool, and the way we did it is that each card has a little bit of narrative that somebody reads aloud, and it presents you with a choice, usually, and it might have a dice challenge associated with it. And that part was cool, and I liked the flow of stuff. And it felt like we got a lot of items that we didn't use. And at the very end, there was like, the ending was decided by like a couple choices based on items that we didn't have. It's like, if you have these items, do this. If you have these items, do that. If you don't have any of these items, do this. And long story short, we end up in an alien spaceship. We fly around not knowing what we're doing. The planet explodes and we explode with it.
Damn, that's really embarrassing. And I'm looking here and I'm seeing that this game is ages 2 to 5.
It's 10 plus, all right? So what do I walk away with? I think that this game is probably fine, and a lot of it was just the group that I was in. Actually, it's got a pretty average rating on Board Game Geek, so maybe I'm more validated than I thought. But I did love the idea of playing a game like this again, and I kind of want to look for what's the best of the genre of like group choose your own adventure games. You know, like I want to see what's best in class, and maybe something that's even more tiered for adults. I mean, there was like shit happening in this game that I'm sure kids would find it fine, but they wouldn't really get. Like, you're playing a psychic gumshoe character, a psychic detective, and there's like a lot of tropes related to that. And like, you know what I'm saying.
You have to have witnessed a bunch of detective media to get a lot of the sort of jokes, right? Like sort of the
jokes and the vibe of it, yeah.
Yeah. The stuff they're homaging or pastiching.
How long did it take you to do this terrible run?
So there's 5 chapters. Each chapter I think can take up to an hour. I feel like each chapter for us took 45 minutes or so. Depends on like how much time you spend doing other things, like we were talking about.
Oh, so it was a long session.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we this was over 2 weekends that we beat it. I mean, we were doing other things those weekends, but like, you know, we'd play for like a couple hours and pack up, and you know, we'd hit it the next weekend.
Damn, that's wild. All that time invested for the worst ending you get.
Hey, it's more about the journey than the ending. You know, it was a lot of fun along the way, and we had some good bits. Like, literally any time there was danger, like there was literally choices like, do you want to go towards the place that the guy ran away from, or do you want to check out the secret hallway? Shannon was like, oh, I really think we should go to the secret hallway, and me and Eric were like, Are you kidding me? No, we're going towards the danger. Why not?
It's called the
Run
House of
towards the
Danger.
Exactly.
You want to get that danger meter as high as possible.
Get an item. You really don't. When you get the danger meter too high, it resets or it lowers your psychic level. We ended the game at level 2 out of 5. That was a lot of reasons we got fucked.
God.
It's funny when you first were going into how the type of player you are, being a completionist. I thought you were going in the direction of like, yeah, I really had us go back every single time, get every single item, and complete a bunch of like side objectives to the point where I accidentally had us like complete some sort of I don't know, ritual or some sort of like background objective that resulted in the worst ending you can possibly get. Like we summoned Cthulhu, that kind of thing. Like, oops, if you do everything in the game, if you investigate literally everything, it fucks you over. Because, like,
yeah,
that's where I thought you were going with it.
I really think that, like, the mistake we made was, like, in chapter 1 and 2, you really can probably just explore everything because the consequences aren't that bad. And then chapters after that, you got to just go through it because consequences are really bad. And it is kind of funny because, like, I feel like, okay, well, now I know how to play the game, but it's not really a game you play twice, I mean, I guess you could, but...
yeah, the downside of a choose your own adventure versus, like, a true role-playing game.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to feel better about yourself, you could play it twice, I guess.
There are other adventures with this psychic gumshoes, I think, in this world. But again, I don't even know if I recommend the experience of playing a choose your own adventure game like this with your friends. And House of Danger, your mileage may vary. If you can find it cheap at a store, you could probably get a fun few hours out of it. We did have fun with it. But it made me interested to find better versions of this game. So I don't know if you would call that recommendation or not, but it is what it is. We had a good
I'm
night.
sure there's a whole category of choose your own adventure board games for, tabletop group.
Yeah. I feel like it's something you and Kay would be into, Vito.
Yeah, we would do something like that.
Okay, that's all I got other than Nightreign. Flask, what have you been up to recently?
I've been up to Poker Face Season 2 has been airing on Peacock. That is the Ryan Johnson episodic mystery show starring Natasha Lyonne as a woman on the run across America, but she has the ability to tell when someone is lying, and she gets involved in a frankly ludicrous amount of murders. Mostly all murders, mostly every episode. Yeah, season 2 so far, it's not over yet, but not as good as season 1. A lot sillier, I feel. So I do still recommend season 1, but so far I'm not so hot on season 2.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. Again, just sillier feeling. But Natasha's still fun to watch, she's good. I have been watching a new anime that is currently airing called Apocalypse Hotel. Greg, my friend, have you heard of Apocalypse Hotel?
I have not, but also I've been out of the anime scene for a couple weeks.
Oh, right. Okay.
Go on, explain it. What is it about?
It is about a fully robot-staffed hotel in Tokyo that is still in operation over a century after humanity suffered an extinction event. And the manager android, who, of course, looks like a, youngish woman, she keeps the place running pristinely in preparation for the return of the humans that she fully expects to happen one day. So even though the rest of the world, there's no humans left in the world, the rest of the world is in ruin. So the first episode is sort of like, Bradbury's There Will Come Soft Rains, but with anime comedy, where it's like a very kind of contemplative, like, what do the machines do? They still just go on even without their masters, that kind of thing. But then, of course, a guest does arrive for the first time in a century, and it is not human. and then every episode deals with something new, like new guests, new events happening, all with the foundation of like this hotel is running, and trying to still be courteous and a good place to visit.
So it's like a monster of the week thing.
Sort of. There is definitely like ongoing storyline. It's not really monster of the week actually. It's more like guest or event of the week is like the main thing they have to deal with that time, but there's constant storyline continuity. Yeah, pretty nice show so far. What I like is that so far it doesn't just play out typical anime tropes in the setting. It utilizes the setting for its story and for its characters, and even the gags. It's nothing feels stock. You know what I mean? So I hope it keeps that up through the whole season. One thing I have to mention before moving on is
Sounds cool.
yeah, I like it so far. Is that episode 4 of this show has one of the funniest visual gags I think I've ever seen in an anime. And what's crazy is that another viewer might have 2 or 3 other ideas of what gag I'm even talking about. So for some reason they were just like on fire in episode 4, which was just a lot of fun. And that's the one that like made me especially glad I started the show just out of the blue one day. But so far the show has been enjoyable throughout. Apocalypse Hotel.
Interesting.
Yeah, so maybe that's a recommend for those who watch such things.
It seems a little too anime-ish for me, just looking at it on the internet.
That's fair.
I could be wrong. I'm definitely way more interested in anime you recommended a couple episodes ago.
Lazarus
from Cowboy Bebop. Yeah,
Lazarus has continued to be entertaining. It has a couple of weak episodes.
I'll throw it on the list, Flask.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, Lazarus so far has had a couple of weaker episodes, but overall it's been pretty consistent in terms of entertainment value, at least.
Cool.
So still recommend that one. And then as for games, I played a small game called The Deadseat, which was $3. It's basically you are a kid in the backseat of a car while your parents are arguing, and the stress of that manifests as monsters that are trying to get into the car and get you. But meanwhile, you're also playing a game on your Game Boy, basically, at the same time. At the same time as trying to fend off the monsters coming in from the windows. So the gameplay is sort of Five Nights at Freddy's style, where you're switching back and forth between the Game Boy gameplay and the fending off monsters when they appear outside the windows, which you do with a camera flash. Pretty simple. Does get a lot harder. The initial game is pretty short, and there's a hard mode that continues what limited story there is. So overall, you could do worse for a few dollars, but it does feel like an itch.io game, which I believe it was without the hard mode, which was added for the Steam release. So yeah, it's just a really short game, really short, simple game.
Okay, that's a recommend, or
I mean, it's not a not recommend.
You got $3 burning a hole in your pocket.
Yeah, for some reason, and this, I think the premise was what drew me to it. It's like, a thing we can all relate to. People of our generation is like, playing a game in the backseat of the car at night, and maybe even your parents are arguing, that kind of thing. Depends on the person, but I feel like that kind of experience is what drew me in.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept.
I've never been a huge fan of FNAF. I played the first game back in the day, but like that style of switching back and forth, like the stress simulator, right? It's never really appealed to me. But FNAF at least has like a lot of lore. I guess that's another.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah. Whereas this one, the story is pretty sparse. Anyway, also played a game, free-to-play game called Poco. It is Poco, Poco. Free-to-play, but I looked into the reason. It's actually a university thesis project that needed to be turned in by a certain date. So the student team did have a small Kickstarter to cover like showing the game around once it was done. But the game itself was released for free since it's just a school project, I guess, you know. But I think it would deserve at least as much money as the Deadseat. Let's put it that way. I think it would deserve like, you know, $3 to $5 as a price tag. It is a point and click adventure about a tiny clown who ends up in the below world, which is basically a realm of lost and broken things, the realm of lost toys kind of thing. And you got to work with what the game calls homunculi, these 5 beings, to solve puzzles in pursuit of building a rocket to get the hell out of the below world. But yeah, the game's not just well done for a student project. It's a solid small indie game, a good point and click. It plays well. It's a bit weird, a bit funny.
It's a John game.
Yeah, this
Dude,
feels like a John game for sure.
Do we make John play this at vacation this year? Last year we made him, for the viewers at home, at our annual friend vacation last year, we made John play Blazing Dragons, the PS1 point and click.
An old nostalgic classic for him.
He would love this. I mean, this looks beautiful. I mean, very.
It really does look good. Also, yeah.
Unique, interesting art style, mix of 2D, 3D. This looks pretty sick.
It's pretty fun and solvable without being too easy.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it's not like baby game. It's actually a real point and click adventure, and yet it's still fairly short. Like you can complete it in a day. You know. If nothing else has, drawn you in, there is an earthworm whose television set is a Game Boy SP. It's
That's
really got
cool.
it all.
Dude, look at that. Yeah,
Dude, living the dream. It's like a theater.
It really is. Yeah, an enormous SP screen. It does have a fair list of contributors in the credits, so it's not like it was done by like 2 people. But I mean, I assume this core student team was fairly small. The one thing I may have done differently is just not have the main music loop that plays most often includes sort of like lo-fi beats to point and click to. It's just it's not as fitting as it could be for like the below world, your little clown, that kind of thing. It feels like there could have been a better theme for the music, or better, genre or whatever. Otherwise, for me, it was an enjoyable little time, about an hour plus, depending on if you're, finding every secret along the way.
okay,
So definitely something we could have John play it at Gamercation as his
maybe
requisite.
I'll give it a little whirl too.
Oh yeah, it's free to play. It's free to play. Poco. I also played a short detective game called Duck Detective: The Secret Salami. This got some buzz last year.
Yeah, me and Kate were looking at this.
Okay. It's one I've been eyeing for a while.
Golden Idol for babies, I heard.
It is Golden Idol for babies. You heard right. Yeah. The sequel to it just came out. I'll pick that up at some point, but I'm not itching. This one just, went on sale a bit, so I picked it up because I've been eyeing it for a while. It is Golden Idol gameplay, or similar to, where you're slotting in keywords and names from clues that you've seen or heard. Very slick, playful presentation. It's like playing through a little, cartoon episode. That's what it feels like. Pretty decent cartoon episode mystery, and the puzzle gameplay is also decent. The English text can hit snags in a few places. It's fully voiced. I'm not misremembering that. I think it's fully voiced. Yeah, it is. It can hit snags in a few places. I think I just attribute that to the studio being German. But it's seriously nothing bad. I was like, here and there. And the only other thing I was going to say about it was, this may not be a problem for different brains, but my one piece of advice is don't overthink anything. The game presents the clues, then you slot the info in. It doesn't really try to mislead you like a more sophisticated, like a Golden Idol might. It doesn't really try to mislead you. You're not really supposed to deduce much, ironically, until the last chapter, which is almost the end of the game. I don't want to imply that the puzzles don't require thought. They definitely do. It's just I don't say this at all disparagingly, but it is Fisher Price Golden Idol, like Vito said.
Right.
Like
well,
says.
we ended up passing up on it because we were. I mean, it's got overwhelmingly positive reviews, and I'm wondering if that's just the charm, because we did end up passing up on it because we were like, oh, this seems too easy, too young for us. After,
I mean,
having beaten Golden Idol and
yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's not made for children, but it's just not nearly as complex as Golden Idol in terms of gameplay or storyline. As I said, it is the equivalent of a cartoon episode, both in the mystery, the nature of the mystery, and like sort of the characterizations. But on the other hand, it's like it's not. Yeah, it's in this weird in-between place where it's like clearly not for kids. I mean, it's set in an office, and most of the stuff that's going on relates to like office or workplace, woes and like interpersonal relationships among office workers and stuff like that. And the mystery has to do with like someone's disappearance, and then like it involves like the politics of the anyway. It's just like not for kids, clearly. And the gameplay, even as I said, is like not easy. It's not like nothing, but it's nowhere near Golden Idol.
So is it more that it's just like the characters and the story, or you're playing it to experience those things more than the gameplay? Or I mean, I guess it's a mix.
See, I don't want to make even that like harsh a distinction. I think I probably will pick up and play the sequel. I think it's okay for it to be this way. It just didn't have any like secret sauce. It didn't have any magic to it that like really made it stand out for me. I completely understand why this would appeal to a lot of people, and it even appeals to me to some extent. It's just not like the wow factor of certain other puzzle games,
I guess I'm just wondering why the overwhelmingly positive reviews. Not an easy thing to get. Maybe it's just a super polished for what it is.
Let me put it this way. I don't know why any person would love this game. You know what I mean? Like why it would be, oh, this is my favorite puzzle game, or this is my favorite puzzle game from 2024. I don't know why anyone would say that, unless that's the only one they played.
Yeah.
So
I mean, this is the game that I almost bought that I saw you playing, but yeah, I might still get it. It sounds fun and cutesy. I was worried it was gonna be a little bit too cutesy for me. Frankly, it's like the number one thing keeping me back from it.
Yeah, I mean that's subjective, I guess, but like I think it treads the line enough where it's like still probably enjoyable to the majority of adults without being too cutesy.
Okay.
So like a soft recommend from me, and I will be playing the sequel, so that says something to you,
Yeah.
That's Duck Detective. I also played Kulebra and the Souls of Limbo. This one I played the demo of, found it really promising back then. And I either didn't know or didn't remember that it was coming to Game Pass day one. So that was that was convenient for me. But I would have bought this game, or rather, in retrospect, I would support the buying of this game.
Right.
It's the game where you are a bone snake in limbo, helping the dead with their troubles so that they can move on. And the art style is reminiscent of Paper Mario, doing like a Dia de los Muertos aesthetic, like a Day of the Dead aesthetic. 2D cutouts in a 3D world, that kind of thing. And it's an adventure game. So, item puzzles, talking to characters, rolling around a world. It also has sort of a time loop system, sort of like Majora's Mask, where certain things happen at certain times of day, and most characters forget everything each day unless you reach them emotionally by progressing their storyline. It's not nearly as complex as Majora's Mask. I just use that as a point of comparison. I'm happy to say it's a wonderful game. It executes what it sets out to do perfectly, I think. The adventure game puzzles and the challenges, they're varied and fun. It's not just finding keys to locks all the time. It's actually varied. It has, thoughtful, sometimes moving character stories, but still a sense of, whimsy and humor a lot of the time. It even has boss battles, surprisingly, for an adventure game. And mechanically, they do something I don't think I've seen before in an adventure game, but I wish more did it this way. Instead of combat or, just finding the right item, it challenges your knowledge of things that you've been told in the world so far. So you actually have to pay attention to the dialogue and the story and even the world building. Like it might be on a sign you read or something like that to do damage in the fight against the boss. It's not like that makes it sound like you have to literally like be super attentive and pay attention to everything. And it's not like if you miss one thing, you'll lose the fight or anything like that. It's like, it's a combat. So there's like health essentially that you were making progress on or losing, that kind of thing. So you might not get everything, but you might know some things, and that might be enough to win the fight. There's only a few of those throughout the game, obviously, because they're bosses, but it's a neat mechanic, and it helps with the immersion into this world because you actually are referring back to things you've learned, So and it's a fun world to pay attention to, I think.
I'm digging it.
Yeah. Other than that, the game lets you roll around your snake body to go faster, and one of the primary mechanics is smashing your skeleton into environmental objects. You do it a lot to knock things off or to activate things. So that's like a very satisfying and fun. It like way better than just pressing A on stuff. You know what I mean? Like you're rolling around to move faster, but also crashing into stuff to like make stuff happen. It's just like a little touch that makes everything better. As snakes do. They roll around like a hoop and just full body blast into stuff.
Yeah.
My uncle was killed that way, actually. But
I'm sorry.
I'm not. Overall, I'm just really impressed. I hope to see more from these developers. Apparently, the core team is two brothers based in Illinois, although they had other people working on the game. And the game's development took 7 years until we have yeah, I mean, it's an indie project, I guess. And it feels like a game that took genuine development time, so I'm not terribly shocked. But we have a genuine contender in the adventure game space at the end of that. So Kulebra and the Souls of Limbo, definite recommend from me.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah, I'm following it. I think this could be a game that I play with Kate.
I say do it. And then the only other thing I've been playing is not something I'm going to talk about until next episode, but I just want to mention it. I am playing Blueprints, which Vito mentioned earlier. Maybe that would be in the lineup for one of his next games.
Should I play it?
Should you play it? Did you ask?
You gotta play Lorelei first.
Yeah, but Blueprints on Game Pass. Lorelei costs money.
That's true.
That's true.
They're actually more alike than I thought in terms of like the amount of puzzles and like the expansiveness of their scope.
That's why it's on my radar, because people were saying that if you like Lorelei, you might like Blueprints.
I think for sure. I think a lot of people would hear, like I might have, would hear, it's a game, you're going into a manor and it's like a roguelike room builder. You're building out the rooms and they have different stuff in them, and then they have different amounts of doors to the next rooms you can build out. And it's like, Okay, so you do that over and over again, and it's like that's the gameplay, and eventually you reach the end, and that's the game. That's not the fucking game. I am 30 hours in to this game, and
Holy shit!
yeah, and I have like, first of all, I've taken tons of notes over the course of the game. I think that's really good to do, similar to Lorelei. I am not close to finding all of the solutions to all of the mysteries. Like I fully expect to be spending like 10 more hours in this game, and I would do it. I will do it.
Long one of those games.
It's pretty long. Granted, okay, 5 hours or so of that 30 probably could have been mitigated somewhat. So the one thing I want to mention, which a lot of people will say who are players of this game, you might have certain like things you want to do in mind, certain objectives that you're like, okay, this time I want to try these things. But the most important part about the game is the ability to pivot and go after other solutions, other objectives, other mysteries, solves. Because of the RNG nature of the game, you really have to develop that as a skill of like, okay, I need to pivot. I'm getting these things, so I need to pivot to this this chain, trying to find this solution. So even though I could say, oh, well, I wasted 5 hours on a thing, that's not even really true, because like those 5 hours were spent also figuring out other things, getting other clues and such. But I will say that like 5 hours of main story progress were probably to some extent wasted by the fact that I missed one key thing in one key room. I saw it and just didn't remember it. And later I was like, oh, fuck, I think that's a thing I missed. And sure enough, it led to like the end game of the story.
Oh, yeah. I did that in Lorelei.
Okay. So, yeah, just because I literally just blanked on one thing, one aspect, I probably wasted some time that I didn't need to waste of that 30 hours. But I'm still enjoying it after all this time. It's very addicting to get into the loop. And if you take notes, I think it's really rewarding to take notes and be able to piece stuff together and cross stuff off your list. It's
sounds like I should play it.
It's a recommend for me for sure. Yeah. But I will give any other thoughts I have next episode on Blueprints.
Okay, Blueprints.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, if that's it, well, I guess it might as well just call it a nut. I'm just kidding. I did it again.
What'd you do?
We're not calling it yet.
News.
Wait, what's that I hear on the wind?
News.
We're calling it a news, huh?
Really, the only news topic I have is PlayStation State of Play.
Oh, okay.
Unless you had something else, Flask. But
no, I mean
that's all I got on my own. Okay, let's walk through this and talk about some things.
Let's walk and talk.
Let's walk and talk. Hey, walk with me. First off, Marvel Tōkon.
Tōkon,
yeah.
Marvel walk and talk on.
Arc System Works is working
songs.
on Marvel fighting game.
That's pretty neat for the fighter.
Yeah.
It looks sick. It looks fucking sleek. It, definitely is most reminiscent. I mean, it's made by the Guilty Gear people, right? Arc System Works. But it looks most similar to like Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yeah.
Like as opposed to like the older ones, because it's got the 3D. I don't know if you call that what's that, comic book style.
Well, are you referring to like cell shading?
Cell shading kind of thing. Yes, that's what I was looking for. Thank you. Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. And I mean, some of the moves look similar, like things like Captain America's doing and Spider-Man. They look like they're reminiscent of like the older games. So I think if you've played those, this will feel good. I'm hoping.
Yeah, because we have most experience in our group with MVC.
Yeah.
A lot of
and it's all Marvel characters. There's no Capcom. No Capcom to be found.
But
Okay.
I'm not saying it's a
anime-ified.
good thing or a bad thing, but I'm just pointing it out. I don't know what Tōkon is.
Tōkon this joint.
Oh.
Very nice.
Marvel minus Capcom is the name I've heard. I'm sticking with.
Oh, and it's 4v4. Is that what is does anybody
Yeah.
know is what's that game called? Guilty Gear 4v4?
Guilty Gear is 1v1.
Oh, so 4v4, that's like
That's a big.
I think they were like in
It's
the
like 3 other characters.
I think they were like in the boardroom, like how do we make what's gonna be revolutionary in like a fight?
They actually talk about it, why they did 4 characters.
Like,
Like
let's
the little speech thing they were doing. They did after this.
What are they
four,
saying?
four
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
I don't fucking know. They were talking about it.
I ain't a fucking journalist.
That's fair. 4 feels like a lot to me. I don't know. I gotta pick because I
They
gotta
said,
pick
though-
a fourth guy. That guy's gonna be like
Well,
the lame guy. Like
To
the
be
lame
fair,
duck.
they said that I guess they said you could play it where you could have your one lead guy as your leader and like the other 3 guys your supports, or you could play it where you play each one like equally, or you only play like 2 and the other 2 is support. There's like apparently different ways you can play these guys.
Okay, interesting.
I have no idea what that means. I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm imagine. Is it like maybe there's a mode where it is a 1v1, but then you could call like you could tag in like Marvel's
I guess
Capcom
it was
style,
like a combined like a combined health pool, and you just pulled from whoever.
That's kind of interesting. A combined health pool amongst 4 characters, so it's like the fights are not like dumb long; they're kind of just regular length, but you have 4 characters.
I can fuck with that.
Not confirming that that's what it is because I don't know. But
That's just what I'm betting it's gonna be. Put me down for that, Andy. Put me down for that.
Okay.
all right.
Please put him down for that.
What else we got here?
Nioh 3 has been revealed, and our friend Kurt played through
You
the
got
demo.
trapped.
Apparently, the demo was 6 hours
It was
long.
like a 6-hour dude. He was playing that shit like from when we stopped watching it to like I think right before I went to bed.
Also,
Like,
mind you,
geez.
that's Kurt. That's 6 hours for Kurt. So the demo's
Dude,
probably
and
actually
he-
like 20 hours long.
Not even like he was ripping through bosses. We got to the first boss. He said, "Oh, I didn't know this was a boss. I should have leveled up." I watched that boss's health bar go whoosh, right down and get. I was like, "Oh Jesus!"
To be
He said
fair,
this game's got
Nioh is
everything.
not known as a hard game. At least,
Really?
Not in the beginning.
not in the beginning. Yeah, the whole point is like you get like different difficulties that you unlock when you beat the game, and like at the higher difficulties.
right.
But I mean, at the demo difficulties, Kurt was on easy with him.
Right, I forget that. You're meant to like play the game like multiple times.
8 times to unlock like the underworld.
That was the
and
main
shit like
turnoff I
that.
had with Nioh 2 is like I don't want to have to.
I didn't even know
30
about
hours
that,
before
and
this
I
game is
played
fun.
Nioh 2. I had fun playing Nioh 2. It was cool. I literally had no idea that you had to play like 8 other times to get harder difficulties.
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't play it more than once. Kurt was really digging it though, and he knows these games very well. And it seems like I don't know. He was saying they added like Sekiro parrying and all kinds of shit. They added stances. I guess is the new feature. You're switching between ninja stance and samurai stance. Summoning dudes, which I don't think is new, but I saw him doing that. Yeah, game looked neat. And
What else looked neat?
I was watching. He was streaming a stream of his PS5. Somehow.
Yeah, he was playing on his PS5 on his TV, which he was playing with like remote play through his computer, and then he was streaming that through Discord.
Right, and he said that there was like input latency because of that. So that's 6 hours with input latency, and it's Kurt.
What a madman.
Yeah. Anything
So-
else you guys care about here? Final Fantasy.
Silent Hill.
Silent Hill. Silent Hill
They
F.
showed a video of it. It looked pretty sick. I'm probably gonna end up buying it.
And it actually has
This
a
is
release
the
date
new
now,
Silent
September
Hill?
25th.
Yup.
I like the aesthetics and it looks kind of cool. And then I was just flipping through the trailer when I saw her like using a sword to cut things. I was like, oh.
She uses a fucking naginata at some point, Andy.
That's what I saw.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's
It is
insane.
it is crazy, but that's the kind of stuff that makes me think: is this Silent Hill?
Right. You think?
Yeah,
like,
but then she's
having,
like
a
has
pipe-
it, and there's like this crazy sun demon that she's fighting.
I mean, I guess you do get a gun in Silent Hill.
And you hit stuff with
Naginata's
stuff.
not that.
Yeah, you do hit some of stuff.
What do you think that F is for?
Fuck this.
Fury. Or at least I'm guessing maybe Fury, because it sounds like one of those people, one of those girls is angry.
No, I'm thinking it's like Silent Hill. Fuck.
Or it's
Well,
actually
they're all like
an
high
F
school
note.
kids, Vito, so I'm afraid I'm going to have to arrest you because of that statement.
It's actually about music.
Silent Hill. Forget about it.
Forget it. That's going to be the next one in Italy.
Oh hell
We
yeah!
saw a new game, a new Bloodstained game, a prequel actually, shown off.
Huh.
Looked like it had like the it has the style of, I can't remember which Castlevania game it was, but the one where you switch between Leon and Charlotte, I think were their names. You play as two characters, and they have different abilities you can swap between them. Anyway, it seems like Bloodstained has that same exact thing going on this new game.
Okay.
I really enjoyed
Scarlet
Bloodstained 1.
Mage.
It'll be interesting to see.
All right.
You know what I
nothing
can't believe
about
we
that.
saw anything for, because I thought it was for sure dead, was Pragmata, the one with the astronaut and the little girl.
I completely forgot about that
Oh,
game. With the little
right.
robot kid.
That was first revealed 5 years ago, and it's still not coming
Yeah.
out till 2026, according to this latest thing, which may also be a lie.
They
And that's
really are
Capcom.
cooking then.
Either they're cooking or their kitchen is fucking on fire and has been for 5 years. Because
It was abandoned.
I don't know.
That's
don't
what I
know.
feel. It probably went through like a COVID or something with
Yeah.
COVID, and it just like probably lost a bunch of it. They're like, ah, damn.
It could be. Could be one of those situations where they were trying to find the fun desperately for years. Could be one of those situations where, like, you know,
And then
It
they
really-
cracked it, maybe.
it really was genuinely taking this long because it was like on the back burner of Capcom project or something. I don't know.
This looks like it could be lit.
Could be. I like sci-fi stuff.
I don't know. I like some sci-fi stuff. I'm more of a, like I've said, I'm more of a nighthead. But it looks interesting.
Oh, you
Yeah,
really
it's
like
like-
medieval
it's like-
stuff, Greg?
Yeah, I'm a medieval guy.
Nice.
It's like Dead Space plus like Vanquish plus like Death Stranding vibes.
Yeah.
I feel like those are my only two like sci-fi things that I really like, or like aliens and like Dead Space. Everything else, like, yeah, whatever. Metal Gear. They showed Metal Gear Solid Delta, like a new gameplay thing trailer. They showed Revolver Ocelot, which was really cool. Kurt, I didn't know this. Kurt told me when we were watching this. Apparently, Cody Rhodes, the wrestler, really wants to be Ocelot in a movie.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, what? That's so weird. It was pretty funny. I don't know if did you guys did you watch the gameplay of that? It looked pretty cool. They showed more of the Ape Escape stuff,
Oh yeah.
and then at the fucking end, they showed gameplay of what I think is Metal Gear Online, the second coming. Boy. You ever play Metal Gear Online?
I did.
Unfortunately, not
very
as
small
much as I
amount
would
of
have
it.
liked to.
From I know, and I don't mean like the Phantom Pain one. I'm talking like MGS4.
Yeah,
Just
Back,
for
back. That was some crazy online. I hope they bring up Metal Gear Online. That's
You really
real
fucks with that.
I fucks with that hard, Vito. I remember playing that with my friend Eric, and he would let me play Vamp. And Vamp is just this guy who's like basically like he never die, and I would just constantly be getting choked out by my friend. It was sick. Fun game. Fun mode. Hopefully they bring it back. We'll see. What else did they announce? They announced
I didn't realize they still made Digimon games.
This I think is, or yeah, it's like part of like the time. They have like a time series game, like Time Detectives, some shit. I was I don't think I think what got me. I think I liked Digimon when I was a kid, and I played the PS1 game, and I got me so angry I stopped liking Digimon because of
Digimon
it.
World, yeah.
Maybe I think it was that. All I remember, I didn't know where to go, and I would constantly go to like the top of this mountain and be lost. I was like, I can't do this. I don't know where I'm going.
Sorry, I had to step away for a moment because someone outside was like revving their engine. But I was gonna say I actually recently bought a couple of the Digimon, like the more recent Digimon games, because they were on like a super mega sale for just a few bucks, and I had always like meant to check them out. I never really played it like Greg. I never played any Digimon World games, even though they looked cool. But it's because I knew that they were like really hard to get something good going. Like you'd always end up with the poop Digimon or whatever.
I have like very like muddled, like muddied versions of like remembering the game, but I remember I having like some stupid one, and I was like, dude, I remember not having a good time with it. We should play that. We should see if we can play that like nowadays.
I wasn't having a good
And if
time with it,
wants
man.
out.
We should play that.
Throw it on the screen.
But yeah, they have ongoing Digimon games and Digimon Story. Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition is the one that I bought. I think it's 2 games in one. And there was also Survive a few years ago. So those still coming out.
This trailer for this game, Romeo's Dead Man, looks bonkers.
Yeah, Suda51, Grasshopper Manufacturer. New game from them.
What have they done?
No More Heroes, Killer is Dead, Let It Die, Lollipop Chainsaw.
I see that.
What was the Killer 7 was the first big hit.
Oh yeah, I definitely see Killer 7 and like all those games in this.
This game looks insane. Yeah, I can't even tell what. I mean, it's like an action game. Looks like it's got many different art styles and different types of gameplay. Especially towards the end of the trailer, you can see like all kinds of other shit happening. I'm interested.
It looks like the combat sequences remind me of like what's the one game Kengan Asuba or something like that. Obviously I'll figure it out later, but editor's note. For some reason I think my brain was trying to go for Kengan Ashura, which is like an illegal fighting ring anime that I've never seen. What I was actually trying to go for was Oni-chan Bara, Bikini Samurai Squad, which is a game that I've never played before. I don't know why this reminded me of that, but it did.
It looks like it's like Dead Rising-esque
Yeah, it
stuff
kind of
happening.
Does.
I wish John was here to talk about the game that's coming to Sea of Thieves launch, Sea of Remnants.
So yeah, that I like the art style or the character designs. It's a free-to-play voyage-themed RPG. So you're sailing ships, pirate stuff. But it's a MMO.
It's one of those. I didn't think it was an MMO. I thought it was like a JRPG or an RPG.
See,
like,
that's
Clair Obscur, like that.
That's what I thought too. But like, why is it free to play?
I don't know. I assume probably you're gonna get a bunch of characters like Zenless, like Honkai Star Rail and all them.
The Steam page says
Honkai Star Rail is like that, and it's free to play.
True. The Steam page says bond with 300 plus companions. So yeah, there's gotcha elements of this. I
see. Okay, that explains it.
Damn, I was actually more excited when I thought it was a multiplayer game.
I mean, I like the look of it. That might be like the draw on its own, but it is turn-based. I mean, it's like Greg said, it kind of does remind of Clair Obscur, even though That was very recent.
Well, that was it was just the recent game
Touchstone
that
of
brought
that kind of
reference
game.
to.
I think that's all the games on this list that look interesting to me. But if anybody else sees something they want to talk about.
There was a game, Tides of Tomorrow. It was that like weird multiplayer game where it looked like other people what they did affects your story or something. Wasn't 100% clear on what that is. But basically they were showing like people like you're going through stuff and you're able to see like what other people did, and like you would go another way and something would happen to you that didn't happen to them. Very sure, very, very interesting.
That's one of those gimmicks that I feel like we're gonna have to see that it's good.
Exactly.
You know? Like,
I thought the same thing. Where I was like, I don't know. Like, I feel like imagine the person in front of me is just constantly fucking me over, like constantly.
Yeah.
Like,
This
all right,
way,
great, cool.
it's safe.
Or like they take everything and they like just fuck every exit over.
But this too is
not
like
on
an
the list.
oceanic thing with this one has like a solar punk aesthetic. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
It's not on this list that we were just looking at, but IOI's James Bond game was shown off.
Right.
Oh
It
yeah, that was
cool.
sick.
It was-
That was very cool.
It was pretty cool. 007 First Light. It's gonna take place right as he's like joining the agencies, like him joining it.
I really don't think I
Yeah.
love 007's character design, but
No.
beyond that, it looks good.
Like aesthetically.
Yeah, he just looks like a random dude. Like he just looks like a video game guy. Like Flask said.
Yeah, I mean,
I believe the last 007 game was back in like 2012, and I think it was like pretty bad if I remember correctly.
A lot of them
I
are very good.
I really liked. Yeah, definitely. I really liked the GameCube ones like Nightfire
Yeah.
and I think it was Agent Under Fire. Those two were my favorite fucking 007 games. I was Pierce Bronson 007 guy when I was a kid.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like all of the previous Bond games, they modeled the character after one of the actors. Like even with From Russia with Love, that game just used Sean Connery. 'cause it was
Maybe the
adapting
guy
that
they're
movie.
face capping is going to be the new James Bond.
No, because this is
No.
like this is
No,
like
that's-
this game is even before pre
That's not a
007.
woman.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
this
maybe
is,
they're rebooting the series.
maybe.
Well,
I think it's fine. I don't think it's a big deal. James Bond's a character. I mean, I don't think it needs to be one of the actors that played him, especially
No,
like,
no,
an
that's not what I'm
older
saying.
actor.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm sorry. I'm saying like every previous Bond in video games had to be like very distinct and recognizable as their actor, whereas this guy had the opportunity to just be like modeled after a person, but they could do whatever they wanted with the character model in game. And I think a lot of the times when that's the case, video game developers have a tendency to like genericize a person's face. So like you'll often see comparisons between video game characters and the people they were inspired by. And you'll look at the original person, the real life person, you'll be like, why did they make this person less like beautiful or less interesting looking or less like, or more like generic as a person? And I think that possibly what happened here, where it's like, if this was modeled after a person, I'm sure the original person looks more interesting to me than this model that they finalized.
I'm
feel-
looking
I
it
feel
in.
you.
I was just looking it up. There's an IGN article about people thinking they've worked out the identity of who it is.
Oh, like the
Some
actor.
dude. Yeah. It's the guy who's gonna play in the new Dexter series. I guess there's gonna be a new Dexter show.
Oh,
There I posted it.
He's doing the face too.
the what? The Dexter face, or the James Bond face?
Yeah, in the trailer, he does that little smirk a
Oh,
lot,
okay.
so I could kind of see,
Yeah.
it being that guy.
Hmm.
I guess his look didn't really bug me too much, but I get what you guys are saying. But gameplay wise, I mean, I'm expecting basically like a Hitman game with more like a stronger Not that the Hitman games don't
Stronger
have like a super
movement,
strong narrative,
I feel
but like
like.
a stronger like movie narrative. And I don't know, I'm stoked. It looks cool. Looks like some
I
cool
hope
set
it's-
Yeah.
pieces.
One of my main complaints about the Hitman games, the more recent Hitman games, is that they were almost like too sandboxy, too open worldy. So I kind of like the idea of them making a more focused adventure in James Bond. At least I kind of hope that's what it is.
Yeah, I hope it's not just
Yeah.
a Hitman game with James Bond slapped over it. You know what my
Instead of killing people, you're arresting people on maps. I'd actually be kind of pissed about that.
he has a
if that's
license
what
to
they
kill. That's like his whole thing. He's a license
he doesn't
to kill.
arrest
I
people.
think
did. Yeah,
I
but
think
then
it'll
he's
be
like, oh,
a lot more limited than a Hitman, and I think that's a good move. Like I don't
I
think
think
it'll be
that's
as
a good move,
sandboxy, but there still will be multiple
Yeah.
ways. I think about like GoldenEye. One of the things that everybody loved about that game was like there was multiple ways to handle a mission. They were like you had a map, but there was different routes to take. There was objectives within the map that some were mandatory and some were optional. So, and you know, similar to the Hitman games. So I think like the formulas are like kind of intertwined. I think it'll work really well for this,
Yeah, my like
but
dream
it won't be
version of
as
this is-
sandboxy.
Right, exactly. Like semi-open areas with multiple approaches, I guess. I don't mean like entrances. I mean like multiple approaches to the objectives of the level. With a focus on espionage, and then those are like alternated with larger action set pieces that the Hitman games would have never had, because that's not the point
Right.
of those games, you know. Whereas in
Action
James
set
Bond movies,
pieces
you
that
have
might-
car chases and wild stunts and big shootouts and stuff like that. Some of
Right.
those,
And we
things
saw a
are-
little bit of driving. So maybe those are some of those like set pieces or maybe like driving sequences. I don't expect it to be like some open world thing. And the footage we
Right.
got, it looks like you're on a road that you have to be on. So, and then some big shooty set pieces that maybe you wouldn't be doing in Hitman, because usually if you're going guns blazing, it's not a good thing.
Right.
But I could see that being, purposeful in this game.
Yeah, I'm down for them to just make a solid James Bond game, like sort of old school, but with modern like openness and complication, complexity.
It's
It's actually denet.
Well,
Last
last chance. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about from the thing?
Oh, Hirogami, I think, was like a paper folding game that looked kind of neat, action adventure thing. I might
Fold this.
I was interested in that Cairn game, the mountain climbing game. That looks pretty cool.
yeah, I think we've seen about that before. That might be a game worth checking out at some point.
I'm
Well,
done.
Other than that, no, fuck. All right, never mind. I think we're done, everybody.
Well, good games tonight, everybody. Come back next week for, like I said, Xbox, Summer Games Fest, and more puzzle games from Flask, I'm sure. A whole lot of nothing from Vito, and Nightreign takes. I think we could probably do another hour and a half on Nightreign next week.
Let's not. Let's really not.
Well, we'll bring John in, and
Right.
then
He's got all the Nightreign takes.
he'll have them.
Good night, everybody.